This is a demo of my interior mapping product. I will show you a bit how it works, and let's get started. This basically takes the UV coordinate and deforms it to create the illusion of a room inside a plane. Okay. The first version was you needed one texture, and it was a bit complicated because you had to create the ceiling, the floor, and the three walls on the same image, and you had to do it on an image editor, and that was a bit complicated. So I decided to change it completely. Now you can set one image for each, and also I added the possibility to randomize them. You can add like 6 different textures for example, for the floor. And as you have many, I will show you I have one here. I did different curtains, different guys. You can also leave them blank and they will show no persons on that room, maybe different lamps. This one has no lamp. And okay, that's basically the idea. You can create like buildings with one material for every window, and you would have different curtains, different floor. You can do as you want, different color on the paint. This is what it does, and now I will show you how it works. So first, as I thought this to be windows, you just create a plane, rotate X 90, and apply the rotation once. That's all. Now you can apply the material. It's important so it works correctly. And then we have, I will go through the different options we have, and then I will do a practical example on how to create a window. Okay, so the first part, this part here, are the 5 different surfaces. We have the floor, the 3 different walls, and the ceiling. That's here. If we go here, we have the first one is the back, and you have here, you can set the depth here. At the moment is 1 unit. Everything is 1 unit in size, height, and height. And you can set this to up to 20. I limited there because I don't know, I don't see this going more than that, but you can do as you want. Then you can, this is set to 20, and you can choose for each texture, not the one on the back because it's still the same size, but the ones that change it, that got stretched, you can select. For example, if I'm going to do this room 20 meters long for 1 meter or 1 unit, let's say, I can do a texture that is 1 unit by 20 units and set this to, let's say this is the roof, the floor. If I set this to stretch, it will stretch the texture. So if I have a texture that is 20 times larger on this size, it won't repeat, and you can do as you want. Or you can have a seamless texture and just set it to repeat, like this case. Well, it's repeating, but it's just to explain. Then you can also, this is just a mapping, but I left out the things that you are not going to use. So you can change the location, and let's do it with the floor. Here you can change the location and the scale like a regular mapping. I thought this to match each other. If it lands on this texture here for the left wall, it will also use the last texture of the back wall. That way you can maybe make one room blue, one red, or whatever, and they will match when when you duplicate them. I'm using, for example, in this case, the same left wall, back wall, but I'm using 3 different right walls to make the painting different. As you can see, it's different every time. And then we have, at the moment I'm using just 3 layers. You can, but if you think that's not enough or you need more, I will remake this or add more. What this does is to add textures, 2D textures, that you can map or locate inside this room. For example, in this case, I'm using on layer 1, I have the curtains. You can set the distance from the border there. 0 is completely touching this, the window, and at 1 they will be completely on the back. I didn't use this thing because it was not visible. So there. Then we have on layer 2. The layers are because when you go, the layer 1 will occlude the layer 2 and the layer 3. So you have to think before you place them. Once we apply I will do it again. Once we create a plane, rotate it on X90 and apply the rotation. We shouldn't apply any other changes to it because it will mess with the math and all the things that are going here. So let's say you want to create this. So we have something that it's 2 by 1, and we grab this and 1 minus, and then we have to give it a little bit of there to avoid the flickering. Okay, so what we should do in this case, I did I did all the textures for 1 by 1, so it will get stretched. But we should do, for example, we will scale it a bit down, so to calculate a bit of the roof and the floor there. Scale on X, and then you can go to edit mode and scale to the size of the window you want. Scale on X or whatever. And now you can see how the interior is the size we wanted. Of course, the door should be, the texture should be 2 by 1 instead of the ones I created 1 by 1. That's why you see it stretched. You can create another window to the same place, but you have to instead change, for example, the right wall will be now the back wall, for example. And that way you can create 2 windows to the same place, to the same area. And we have this one, and you see this on the right wall. I added, this is not realistic at all, but I did fast to explain, like the view outside. And as you can see, you can create the interior. The textures there, you can also have 6 different variants, as I told you. You just place them there and set this number to the ones that you want to use. And then you can move them. I will move the guide here. You can decide where it's standing. And also, this is another different, a copy of the material with different settings on everything. You can always enter edit mode and scale it down to create the window. The effect of the window is smaller than the room, of course. But you cannot do it bigger than it was, because it will break also the effect. If we scale this up, you will see that everything breaks up. But normally you shouldn't, because the window won't be bigger than the room where it is. So okay, so the last thing I want to mention is that it is all based on the object origin. So if you duplicate, it will be fine. But if you do something like an array, for example, the array, it still uses this origin point, so it won't work. But what you can do is, once you have the windows you wanted, you can apply this array, edit mode, separate with P by loose parts, so every window becomes an independent object, and then select everything and right click origin origin to geometry. That will set every origin to its geometry, and now they will work again. Okay, so that's it, and I will be doing more tutorials these days. I have one in the process. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.